Welcome to another video showing you how I created this mixed media canvas of butterflies dancing on flowers. Prepared my canvas with some tissue paper, just scrunched on with gel medium. I painted some yellow down the sides, but because I had a dirty mark on it I've had to try and block that out. So I'm just covering it with some white paint. Now I'm shielding the edges with a piece of silicone cooking mat, spritzing it with my homemade inks. There you go. I've decided to stick some newspaper down across the middle. It was easier. Using repositional spray, just sprayed those edges there. So now I've got some interest is beginning to build into my canvas. I've got tissue paper scrunched up on the middle, layers of inks on the outside. Now I'm just laying down some colours, so I've got something to work with. I'm using primary blue and iridescent white here with some gel medium just to dilute it down, and it gives a wonderful glossy sheen, very textured effect on the background, which I actually really loved. I was planning at this point to use this canvas for one of my photographs, and I was going to put the photograph over this background, so this background was designed really for a photograph, but I loved this bluish sheen so much I changed my mind, which is what I do on a regular basis, and I decided to make it into a painting instead. So here we go. I'm just blocking in that background with the primary blue and iridescent white. Once my background has been all blocked in with that blue, I'm going to the edges now. I've got copper mixed with some gel medium, and I'm just dabbing that on with a little sponge dabber all over to add some extra interest to the side panels. They're a bit too pink for my liking. Not really into pink in that extent anyway. Here I think my side panels need more interest, they're a bit boring. So I've got some shredded paper which I'm going to stick down with PVA glue. I love my little dispenser bottle there. It's a hair dye bottle, very fine tip, and it's perfect for precision gluing. Much cheaper as well. Some of those expensive bottles of glue, they charge a fortune for a precision tip. So I'm just laying down the shredded paper, trying to keep it as vertical as I can, and then I'll go over it with the brush and just dab some more glue down to try and get it stuck down as best I can. Once it dried, put another layer of glue over the top, so it was all really firmly stuck down. It didn't go anywhere once it had 2 or 3 layers of glue on it. Once I've got enough on there, don't want too much on, just enough to add some texture, trim off the edges with scissors, and exactly the same on the other side of the canvas panel. And then I've got some interest going on. Now I'm going to get rid of that orangey pink, which I really don't like, so it's my favourite cadmium red with some black gel medium, and I'm going to start covering those 2 side bits. Much more depth to the colour. The side panels shouldn't be the main focus of the picture, so I want them to be darker to draw the eye into the middle as well. At this point in the process I was planning on putting some kind of string, twine, or a silver beading between the side and the main part of the picture. I'll change my mind in the end on that one, you'll see why later. So once my side panels are ready, I chose some images from my photographs that I've taken from my garden. I wanted those butterflies. Wasn't too interested about the flowers because they didn't really fit in with my idea that I wanted to do. Those my butterfly I've started, blocked it in with alcohol inks to get that background colour. Now I need to add some white to get the detail around the edges of the wing. Tried this zigzag postman chalkboard marker pen, but it didn't quite give the effect I was after. So instead I've swapped to my iridescent white paint, and I'm adding my little white details with that. So there you can see I finished the white edges on there. My top butterfly I've blocked in already with a yellow alcohol marker, just to give the basic outline shape. I'm going to come in with my black marker now and do the edges. I'm feathering those edges to try and recreate the soft, gentle, delicate edges of a butterfly's wings. So once the black outline's done, just going in putting in some detail there, the little divisions on the wing, back in with the iridescent white, going all the way around to fill in the gaps where the white goes, and then we'll leave that to dry and do a little bit of work on the other butterfly. So I'm just putting in some white glaze there, just so where the wing catches the light, the sunlight, to make the butterfly look a bit more 3D. Now adding some of the detail into the wing, and again once that's done, leave it to dry and we'll go back to the other butterfly. Now it's time to start building the colour up on the top butterfly using my alcohol markers, ranges of orange, yellows, cadmium yellows. There's some browns as well go into the mix. Because of the glossy finish on the paint, these alcohol markers stayed workable for quite a long time, which was really nice, so I could blend the colours beautifully together. Normally they dry very, very quickly and then you can't blend them, but because of this glossy finish I got some beautiful gradations of colour. Just building up colour, took quite a few layers, and we just keep going. Start with the lighter and get darker and darker and blend as we go along. So here, I'll speed this up a bit and you can see me just building up the layers of colour with the different pens. Browns, a little bit of cadmium red in there, oranges, yellows, and then putting back in the detail with the black again. So now I've added the white to the butterfly, it's time to leave them to dry. I'm going to start building the flower shapes now. On the right hand side I've mixed the primary blue, some ultramarine, white and some gel medium, and I'm just going to sketch in some of the leaf shapes. Decided to go for very loose shape leaves, nothing in particular. I haven't got a reference photo I'm working from here. I just wanted like an open daisy kind of effect that the butterfly could sit in the middle of. Okay, I'm deliberately using a very limited palette here with just the blues, the white, but to add a little bit of warmth to the picture I'm using rose as well, giving that little hint of purple and warmth to the flowers. Felt it was a bit cold without that. Just adding depth, adding the shadows, putting the highlights where the sun would be hitting the flowers, and keep working around both flowers at the same time to keep them balanced and gradually building those flowers up. Now I've been around the flowers quite a few times and building up the layers of paint, going paler, darker, paler, putting in shadows, changing the lighting on the flowers to get them to look good. You can see by the range of colours on my right hand side there what I've been working with. Now I'm going in with the darkest points to put in the shadows where the flowers are overlapping and to get some depth into the picture. So now it's time to start working on the stems. Amazing what difference the light makes. It looks like those flowers haven't got any depth of colour to them at all. First of all, I've blocked in where the stems are going to go with white. This means I can get a more accurate colour on the green stems that I want. I'm just using a lemon yellow, ultramarine blue there, and painting it on, adding more blue, adding more yellow to get difference in colours, so it's not a uniform colour all the way down. I've got a little bit of white there as well mixing in to give some highlights to it. And now I've got a mix of ultramarine and black just to get a really dark contrast going in there. I'm using the same colour on the stems and on the petals, so I've got the consistency across my picture. If you have lemon yellow and you mix it with black, you get quite a nice subtle green, so I've put that in there as well. Now I'm going back into my petals, building the colour up again to get that balance across the picture that I'm after. Once I've gone in with my darks, I'll go back in with my lights and put the highlights back in. Really working with very thick texture paint here to add extra interest to my piece. It isn't smooth painting at all. I want all the brush strokes to show and the texture of the painting to come through as well. There we go, just having a quick check of it to see what I think. It's coming. Alright, I've decided my background needs a bit of work neatening up, so I'm using a ruler to get straight edges at the side there. With my iridescent white and the primary blue, I'm going to go all over the background just to brighten it up a little bit. It looks a little bit dull. So going in, again being really heavy with the brush strokes. I want the texture to come through. There's still that tissue under there, adding extra interest. So I'm just neatening up my background. So while the painting into the middle of the picture dries, I've put some copper on a sponge dabber around the edge and some black acrylic paint on the edge, just adding detail and depth to that. I've added some gold and some silver as well on that sponge dabber to create that beautiful mixed depth appeal of the border. I've just lost some of that pink warmth colour from the flower, so I'm adding that back into them there with a bit of rose and ultramarine colour. So now we're nearly finished. It's a case of going around and tickling it up a little bit, putting some more green on the stems, using some black. I'm adding some shadows, but the main reason for this black is to get those antennae into the butterflies at last. Just strengthening off the shape of the wings as well, and a case of just, as I say, going round, putting back in any detail that's been lost in the process. So the last few little touches, going in and out, making sure I'm happy with it all, and the final step, give it a signature. Using my Sharpie on this, decided to go up the stem because I didn't really want my signature to be a major part of the picture, and that's what it looks like up close. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye now.